Maybe? All right, here we go. Holy shit, that's going to run out of hard drive space really quick. Okay, so yeah, welcome back to Quarantine Kitchen. I wasn't going to do a second one of these, but I am now. So, yeah, today we're doing pickles, which I just have to say is pickles, because it's just more fun that way. So, earlier today I made some carnitas, and there really wasn't anything fun to show you guys, so I didn't record it. This one is going to be all about making pickled cauliflower, making pickled cucumbers, and making pickled onions. And they're going to use a little bit different brines, and I hope I have enough vinegar to get through it all. So we're going to find out. So I like dill pickles, really, really heavy on the dill, lots and lots of dill. Garlic, pickling salts, and little itty bitty Kirby cucumbers, not the giant ones that you normally use for, like, I don't know, English cucumbers, I think they're called. And so, okay, I don't have to care about that. Cool. So I use these. They're pretty awesome. And kind of your goal here is take a jar. This is a freshly washed jar, giant jar. Needs to be clean. You do not want to die from these things. We're not doing fermented pickles, so it doesn't have to be a fermentation-safe jar. This is literally just a recycled pickle jar from the store. So we're going to start by just prepping all our veggies. Like I said, cucumbers, a red onion, because who doesn't like pickled onions? Cauliflower. So we're going to start here, and we're going to end chop these guys, and then we're going to make them into spears. And our goal here is pack the jar as tightly as you can. We're not trying to put a ton of brine in here. The goal is more to have, put it flat that way. The goal is to have more veggies than brine. And that's not just because I have to stretch the vinegar I have. That's just kind of how we want to do it. So, more, 2, 4, that's not going to work right. That's going to be a goofy shaped one. But, like Bob Ross said, there's no mistakes. Only happy little accidents. There's no screwing up in cooking, right? So, perhaps these weren't the best shaped ones for this. These weird wonky ones aren't going to stack real well, but we're going to improvise. There's always more cucumbers. I like whole cucumbers, but since we're not doing fermentation, we get better, not adhesion, what's the word I'm looking for? Better soak through, I guess, since I can't think of the word, if we slice them. So, there's lots of times where I'd make full pickles, but since I'm not fermenting, now is not that time. So we want to give lots of surface area for the brine to go into. So we're filling up the jar here. I may have actually made too many cucumbers here, but oh well. Like I'm not just gonna eat them tomorrow as cucumbers. The winner here. So filling this jar up to capacity as tight as we can. And before we completely fill it, we want to leave a little bit of room to get spices in there. So we are going to pack it the rest of the way, but at this point, I'm going to stop about right here so we can start putting other delicious things in here. So, I have a jar here. Basically, full of cucumbers. A little bit of breathing room for a little bit. And to this, I'm going to add... Nope, I did not open the top of that. So, this is pickling spice. Kind of optional. I like it in pickles, not so much in other stuff. It's allspice, cinnamon, clove. Kind of all the stuff you'd normally find in the bottom of a... Wait, which way am I going? There we go. the stuff you'd normally find in the bottom of a pickle jar. And with dill pickles, it works really well, so throw in about yay much off the top. And I said it before, I'll say it again. I really like dill. So the more dill, the better. You do not need to go in there. So this has been sitting around a couple of days. I probably should have used it a little sooner, but I got busy, what with the pause and all. So we're going to put this dill in. Come on, get in my jar. And we got more dill. It smells delicious because dill is awesome. Jam more in there. You kind of can't go wrong here, right? Like, just cram it in there. We'll put some more cucumbers in there to seal up the edges because I like garlic. Uh-oh. Hopefully I just shut my screen off. Did it stop my recording? It did not. Awesome. So, this is the beauty of a one take. You get all the mistakes. I'm not doing it twice. Squeezed garlic. Squeezed garlic is my friend because I do not go through enough garlic to bother breaking it out by clove. But I do love dill and I do love garlic. So, that's, I don't know, probably 2 heads of garlic total. Like, it's all just jammed in there and delicious. And now we're going to take another cucumber and we're going to fill the spaces. Slice that guy. Gotta take the ends off, but whatever. Greg's sitting behind the scenes laughing at me right now. He's playing cinematic supervisor at the moment. And we've got more pickles. All right. So now we're going to jam this guy in here. We really don't want stuff floating. Jam you in there. Jam you in there. Come on, you, get in. I know there's room for you. You fit in there. You fits there. And I know you can squeeze in on the end here. Don't lie to me. See, it's sneaking in. Just barely. Okay. So, now we got to make our brine. And like I said, we're not doing a fermented brine. So, we're just going to boil together vinegar, sugar, and salt. And you got to have a little bit of sugar in there just to open it up or it's no good. So it sounds like a lot of sugar, but remember, you're not drinking the brine. So we're going to do 2 cups of vinegar here. This is my handy dandy 1 cup. One cups. 2 cups, because it was a little shy. All right. And since we packed that really tightly, I'm hoping that this brine is enough to do both of our big jars we're going to do. I'm going to make a separate brine with apple cider vinegar for the onions that we want to do. We're not there yet. So we got 4 tablespoons of sugar, which in the handy dandy ant-proof bag, because ants are the devil and I don't like them. Push in and lift. Come on. Apparently you got to be stronger than the perforations. And I am not. Also, I was never a Boy Scout. Don't judge my knife skills right now. Or judge them, but whatever. So. Teaspoon, tablespoon. Using the big one. There's, come on. Shake, shake, shake. You there, get up there. All right. So that's 1. Come on. 2. What? Oh, come on. I've been defeated by the sugar box. Gotta be smarter than the technology. All right. That's 4-ish. We're good. Maybe a little shy, but in the right thing. And we need 8 teaspoons of salt. I have delicious, delicious salt over here. Again, in the stolen container of salt containing 4, 5, 6, 7, having done that, we put you over there. You and you come back over here. There. And we are going to turn this on. And I'm going to throw it at about a 7 and just let her go for about 5 minutes. And while that's going, we're going to get this guy out of my way, put him over here. And I'm going to clean this off. Luckily, since we're just working with veggies, no need to worry about cross-contamination or anything like that. And we're going to start prepping some cauliflower. So, yet again, just a standard old pickle jar. We don't have to worry about it being burst safe or anything like that. And we're going to start just kind of popping florets off of this cauliflower. And we're going to take it down a little bit because as we're pickling this, we probably don't want a ton of the stems. It'll take a bit to get them to accept the brine. And since this is only going to be like a probably 4-day pickle, I'd say, we don't need a ton of stems in there not getting any pickly goodness. So we're going to get you out of there. Get you out of there. I'm starting to think that maybe, just maybe, this one head of cauliflower might not actually fill this jar. But it's a beautiful thing about pickles. I can find some peppers to fill this up with. So, there we go. That's the stem. We don't need it for what we're doing here. We've got this. And since I did it wrong last time, I'm going to put spices in first this time so I don't have to jam them in around the edges. And so for this, we're actually doing a combination. We're going to leave out the pickling spice because I don't really feel like allspice and bay leaves and ginger are really what I want going in here. Instead, we're going to do a simple turmeric, which bought in the little plastic bags because I'm cheap, and celery salt pickle on this one. So, ooh, that was a happy accidents. This is going to be a very, very yellow pickle. That was a lot of turmeric. Maybe it's not going to be a very yellow pickle. Hang on, we're going to fake this. All right, we're going to toss out about 50 cents worth of turmeric there. And I've got some celery salt here. So, there you go. And you know what? Just a little bit of black pepper because we can. So, there we go. That was a lot of black pepper, but you know what? Whatever. So, now we're going to just take and cut most of these stems out and just start dropping little awesome chunks of cauliflower in there. And we're going to be listening behind me for what sounds like vinegar starting to boil. And when I start hearing that happen, we're going to... You there. Come on. There we go. You go in, and you go in, you go in. All these little bits of cauliflower. I have no idea what I'm going to eat pickled cauliflower with, but I like cauliflower. I like pickles. I'll find things. Put it on a salad. I'll bet you make a killer sandwich, too. But as you can see, we're kind of filling up this jar, just breaking things off the main stem so we don't have to worry about pickling through that. And sometimes I leave it, sometimes I toss it. And let's just keep going here. Kind of the key is you got to figure out what flavors would be good together. Like, I'm not putting dill in here because I love dill, but there's nothing in me that needs dill cauliflower. Just not a flavor combination I want. So I know that turmeric and cauliflower go together really well in like Middle Eastern food. So we're just going to keep putting them together and stretching this out as far as we can. And again, we're working to fill as much of the jar as we can because we don't want it floating to the top. We want it all sitting as deep in the brine as we can get it. So that worked surprisingly well. I think that was just about exactly one head to a jar. Cool. Minus that little bit that you just saw me eat. So, at this point, we have a mess. But also, we have what sounds like boiling vinegar. Ugh, smells like it too. Really, really not a stellar smell. Not one of my favorites. But it makes delicious pickles, so I'm alright with it. Let's give this a little stir here. Our goal is to get the sugar, the salt, and the vinegar to incorporate with each other. Not to let them burn to the bottom of the pan like I did. But we got it going. So we now have a pretty good brine going, and it's plenty hot. You want it hot because we're going to use the heat to seal the lids. When you go to the grocery store and your lids go pop when you open them, that's because they're filled hot when everything is food safe and no bacteria can grow. And then when they cool off, everything takes up less space, so it seals it and you're safe. So now we have our turmeric here. And we're going to start with what we're doing here. We're just going to dial that down a notch. And we're going to take our measuring cup. Get that lid out of my way. And we're just going to take a cup of brine and start filling these. And we're going to learn as we go if we have enough to do 2 of these or if I'm making up a second batch. But it's all in the adventure. So there is. So we are up to about halfway after 4 of those. So maybe it's going to take a little more than I thought. Also, that's really slow. So we're going to just do this. When I used to have a regular stovetop, I actually, well, what I used to do on my regular stovetop doesn't matter because suddenly we don't have enough vinegar. All in the fun of the quarantine, right? So let's go ahead and do, so that was 2 cups there, so we're going to need way more. Let's figure out how much I'm doing here. 1, 2, call that 4 more cups. We may not be doing onions tonight. We may have to buy more vinegar. So we're now going to need 8 tablespoons of sugar for the second batch. Luckily, it comes to a boil quick, right? So, hang it up as I go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus all the overflow is 8. Since I was just pouring through it, right? Uh-oh. Teaspoon. Tablespoon. Let's throw some more sugar in there. Did it wrong. Now, let's take the little spoon. And because I ran out of the little bowl, come on, short guy reach. I'm now going to need 16 teaspoons of this. Little spoon this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Again, happy little accidents. Cannot screw this up. The only way you can screw up is by not having enough raw ingredients to make all 3 jars of your pickles. But we got nowhere better to be in the quarantine, right? We can just go ahead and make more tomorrow. And now we have a nice little jug to recycle. Oh, no, wait. I had it done. I forgot. I have apple cider vinegar for the onions. So we're good. We just better be able to fill both of these jars. So tell, making it up as we go along, right? So, all right, there we go. Apparently next to the recycle bin with you. So, we got you, and while that's boiling, we're going to go ahead and do a quick little clean here. And start prepping some onions. So we only have a half-size jar for the onions. And these I'm going to do really plain because just pickled onions are really good on sandwiches, and they're delicious to add to, like, well, I made some great carnitas earlier today, so I'll be adding them to that, I guarantee it. And they don't need a lot of extra flavors to be just tasty and delicious and added in. So I'm actually going to grab about, and maybe we can fit the whole onion in here, but I'm going to start with a half. And get rid of all the lame outer skin that doesn't feel like an onion. You probably actually want to get rid of the woody core too, because it just, again, it doesn't soak up all the goodness. So it's kind of pointless to keep it around. So we're going to go Hadouken. We'll get through that yet? Almost. Right. This last little bit's fighting me here. There we go. Now we're through. And all we're going to do is we're just going to, I'm going to say quarter this, and then take it in thin little pieces. The goal is I want tiny little thin pieces that I can put on things that don't stick to each other. I'm not trying to get half rounds of onions here or anything like that. I just want lots of loose little fun pieces that I can throw into a jar. So we're going to go take you up, and you're going to go here, 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 here. And as you can see, it's kind of sticking together, so I'm going to break it up before I put it in the jar. Because once it goes in there, it ain't going to break up on its own, I guarantee you. So, there we go. There's some. There's more. Oh, whoa, fingers. All right. You guys are just not staying together. So we're going to... Okay, apparently we have some thick onions, because this one just wants to fight. But we'll be all right. So again, we break them up so we get the little pieces separate, and they're all tasty and delicious when we put them on sandwiches, and they're not all trying to be a giant chunk of onion taking up our time. And then we just fill the jar again. I don't know who invented pickling, but they certainly came up with a not very complex process to do it. This is not rocket surgery. Fill jars, brine jars, close jars. Let them sit for 3 to 4 days, preferably about a week. And they'll keep for probably, I'd say, 3 to 4 weeks. I've kept some for longer, but that starts to get a little shady. All right, and now we have more brine. Another quick stir. And I now have a combination of vinegar fumes and onions in my eyes. This is pretty close to chemical warfare. And you know what? No, there's still too much in there to do that. I will make a spilly, stinky mess if I do that. So we're going to go back to the measuring cup. And a little more. And it's really crucial you get to the very, very top of the jar. Because you do not want air in there. So get as close up to the top as you can. Cap that guy and let it cool. I'm going to let these cool on the countertop. Let's hope we have enough to fill the other one. I'm going to let these cool on the countertop because I do not want to shock the very hot jar by putting it in the fridge. But all we're going to do is we're just going to close that guy off, and you hear the clicky lid? When it cools off, the clicky lid will stop clicking. So, close it, make sure it's closed. Give it a shake to let all those spices play together real nice. Let it sit, let it hang out. Take a look. We got all the chunks of dill, we got garlic, we got a little bit of pepper flake. These are going to be delicious pickles. So, and they don't really take very long. So now we're going to do this guy, and I'm hoping we have enough. We may have to supplement with apple cider vinegar. But I don't think apple cider would really hurt us in this recipe. So, yeah, we only got filled to there. So, apple cider it is. I don't know. We will figure it out. Exactly. So, what are we going to do? We're going to do 2 cups here. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I should probably make 1 cup, 2 cup, 3 cup, because that's going to take 2 more. And then that'll only take a little bit. So we got 3 cups, which means I now need 6 tablespoons. Again, tablespoons are the big one this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, change. And all the salts. So this is going to be 12 teaspoons, the little guys, of salt. We come back here. We go do-do-do-do-do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. For future reference, it apparently is just do a 12 count of salt. Now that we know the pour rate on this thing. All right. So now we're going to stir this up. Try and incorporate everything. And go ahead and let that guy boil while I finish cutting some onions to fill the rest of this jar. So, you're done. All right. Probably another quarter of an onion, maybe. Call it there. No good. Now we're just gonna go zip, zip, zip. Again, break them up. All we do is get this jar to the top, bring it over to the pickling station. Or, you know, the stovetop, I guess. Sounds way fancier when I call it the other one, though. So. While we're waiting on that. Or, since I have extra cucumbers, having some pre-pickles. Not quite pickled yet, but soon. Stir this up again. I think the big takeaway here is this is just something to fend off the pause here. It's cheaper to buy pickles at the store than taking all this time to buy all these ingredients. But I like how these taste more. So, that is what it is. And we got nothing better to do. So let's just sit here and shake some. Uh-oh. Hang on. Cool. Still recording. How did this this take a half an hour? I thought this would be way quicker than the other video. Alright, well, boiling things 3 times, I guess. So, we're going to shake this. Hear more vinegar boiling. And we're going to spin that down. There we go. Stinky. So. One. Two. Oh. You know what? I want to make sure these get some on them. So we're going to take a stop here to put some vinegar on these onions. Just so I make sure we have enough to cover them, because I cut them up. And then we'll figure out what to do with the cauliflower. There we go. That was pretty full. Oh, that is a smell. What we're going to do is we're just going to top these cauliflowers off, shut off our burner, go back to our jar here, close that guy off, and we didn't quite get to the top on this guy, so we're going to learn as a group what that means. But in the meantime, we're just going to shake this up and get all this delicious turmeric in here, and we're going to have an explosion here. Hang on. It's vent. There we go. The air, so there was air. When I filled with the top, there was no air to expand. There was just a little bit of air in here, so the cap popped up when I shook it. So, all part of the adventure. I'm expecting these to be pretty cloudy, but you can already see them picking up that yellow color. It's going to be really tasty with the turmeric. And then coming back over here to what's left of the onions. And this is just a real basic mason jar. This is a Karasher take. So all we're going to do is we're going to close that guy off. And maybe. Come on. There we go. And now you're closed. And then we're going to have delicious pickled onions for sandwiches. Now, normally I'd do these in white vinegar. We're going to see how they are with, that really wasn't quite enough there. I should have made 1 more cup of brine, but we're committed now. So, no, we're good. So we're going to let this sit. I wouldn't do dill pickles with apple cider vinegar, but onions are going to be delicious. So, with that, I've commenced making an awesomely reasonable mess, I guess, actually. I thought it was going to be way worse than it was. So, we'll check back in a couple of days with some delicious pickles. Cheers!